When you think of Angkor Wat, you probably picture this stunning, iconic temple, right? The crown jewel of Cambodia. But what if I told you it's also one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries? Seriously. We're going to push the travel guides aside for a bit because today we're diving headfirst into an enigma and asking a question that might just change how you see this ancient wonder forever. And look, this isn't a new thing. People have been left completely speechless by this place for centuries. Way back in 1586, a Portuguese friar, Antonio de Madalena, basically said you can't even describe it with words, that it's unlike anything else on Earth. That feeling, that sense of awe and just disbelief, that's at the very heart of this story. And the sheer scale of it is just, it's hard to even wrap your head around. We're talking over 1.6 million square meters. To put that in perspective, that makes it the largest religious monument on the entire planet, and not by a little bit, by a huge margin. This isn't just a temple, it's a sprawling city made of stone. Which, of course, brings us back to that one massive question. Who on earth could have built this? Now, there's an official story, one you've probably heard before. But as you're about to see, the moment you start looking a little closer, that official story, well, it starts to fall apart in some pretty spectacular ways. All right, so first, let's unpack the official version of events. This is the story you'll find in pretty much every history book. It's the tale of a great king and his even greater empire. So the official theory goes like this. In the 12th century, a powerful ruler of the Khmer Empire, King Suryavarman II, decided to build this incredible structure as his state temple. Seems simple enough, right? A mighty king builds a magnificent monument. Case closed. But here's the thing. What is this entire theory actually based on? Well, this is where it starts to get a little weird. The main piece of evidence linking this entire colossal complex to that one king is a single carving of him, a bas-relief, found among thousands of other detailed carvings across the whole site. That's it. The whole attribution really hangs on that one picture. And that one piece of evidence, it's also the first major crack in the official story. Because once you start pulling on that single thread, the whole narrative starts to face some really tough and, frankly, hard to ignore questions. I mean, just think about it for a second. If you were the mastermind behind the most ambitious and breathtaking architectural project in human history, wouldn't you want to, sign your name a little bigger? This is the first big problem. And this really shows you the disconnect. On the one hand, you have the temple itself, an absolute marvel of complex, intricate, perfectly executed engineering. And on the other hand, you've got this carving of its supposed creator, which experts have described as simple, faint, almost like it was an afterthought. The scaling just feels wrong, doesn't it? Okay, problem number 2, the economics of it all. History tells us that during this king's reign, the Khmer Empire wasn't exactly at its peak. It was still powerful, for sure, but it was also bogged down in expensive wars and arguably was starting to decline. So could an empire in that state really pull together the mind-boggling resources needed for a project like this? And this chart just puts the incredible scale of it all into perspective. Look at China's Forbidden City, another wonder of the world. It's less than half the size of Angkor Wat, and it was built during a time of massive imperial power. Angkor Wat is more than double its size. The logistics are just staggering to think about. Now let's just do some quick and frankly insane math. To get this thing built in the accepted 37-year time frame, workers would have had to quarry, transport over 80 kilometers, perfectly carve, and then place 1 ton of stone every single minute. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 37 years straight. With the technology they had, it seems impossible. And maybe the most powerful piece of evidence against the official story is what they haven't found. A project of this magnitude would need a massive city of workers living there for decades. We're talking housing, tools, weapons, pottery, all the stuff people leave behind. But archaeologists have found nothing. No tools, no weapons, no houses. It's like the builders were ghosts who just vanished. So, if the Khmer Empire didn't build it, then who did? This is where we get into a much older, much more mysterious possibility. The idea that the Khmer didn't build Angkor Wat from the ground up, but that they found it, inherited it, and then added to a structure that was already ancient in their own time. Now, this is where things get really wild. Proponents of this alternative theory point out that Angkor Wat lies on a perfectly straight line that circles the entire globe. connecting it with other ancient, unexplained wonders like the pyramids of Giza, the Nazca Lines in Peru, and Easter Island. Is that just a wild coincidence or a clue to some forgotten global civilization? The evidence might actually be baked right into the stones themselves. When you look up close, you can clearly see two very different styles of construction. You have the original core of the temple with its flawless, seamless, incredibly precise stonework. But then the later additions, the parts often attributed to the Khmer, are visibly rougher, they're uneven, and the quality is just not even close. It really looks like a far less advanced culture trying to copy the work of masters. But hold on, because the most jaw-dropping evidence is literally carved into the walls for everyone to see. There are depictions of things that should have been absolutely impossible for a 12th century civilization to know about. There's a figure that looks like it's using a telescope, an instrument that wasn't invented until the 1600s. There's a clear carving of a four-tusked elephant, a species that's been extinct for 2 million years. And, get this, what appears to be a map of our solar system, including planets like Pluto, that you can't see without a powerful telescope and which we didn't discover until 1930. How do you explain that? So, what are we supposed to do with all this? We're left with two completely different explanations for one of the most incredible places on Earth. It is, without a doubt, one of history's greatest unsolved cases. So let's just lay it all out side by side. The official theory says the king's carving is definitive proof that they managed the impossible construction rate using clever canals, and that all those impossible carvings, just art or pure coincidence. But the alternative theory says no, the carving was a king putting his stamp on something that was already there, that the construction rate required advanced technology we've lost, and that those carvings are accurate records left by a much, much older civilization. And so, we're left with this enormous question. Was Angkor Wat the crowning achievement of the Khmer Empire, pushing human ingenuity to its absolute limits? Or is it something far more ancient, far more mysterious, the inherited blueprint of a lost civilization we know nothing about? The stones themselves aren't talking, leaving the enigma for us to solve.
Health is the most precious gift. If this video helped you or someone you love, please like, subscribe, and share so more families can stay safe and healthy.